Oh, I get the orange seat. That's nice.
These are cozy. Yeah, those are a nice morning walk. It's really lively for a Friday. The last day in the Okanagan.
Yeah, it was interesting. We started from descending into Osooyos and then driving along the Okanagan Valley has been interesting. There's a lot of vineyards.
Osooyos was amazing.
The descent was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a huge surprise. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And it was a detour to go through it.
Yeah.
And the whole drive from Osooyos onwards to here was really interesting because there's tons to look at.
Yeah, Penticton.
No, I don't know.
Penticton. We'll call it Penticton. Yeah, that was interesting. Then there's what like Summerland, Peachland. Those areas are pretty nice too because they're all along the shore, and they have hillside homes. I mean, it's a good-sized city. There's a lot of construction going on, stuff like that. I think the downtown is like a block basically.
Yeah.
It's gonna fill in. I mean, it's a pandemic. It's been a little bit quiet, but it seems like a nice city. Definitely like a millennial alternative to any of the major cities that doesn't work for people. Even before the pandemic, I think it was. It's interesting that what they're doing here. It's all. I think it's getting ready for the demand. Like the construction is quite heavy. There's quite a few
exodus from the city.
Yeah, they're definitely going to cash in on that. I can see that happening here. Myra Canyon. That was
such an adventure.
The temperature dropped, I think, by about 8 degrees Celsius. But it was quiet.
It was so quiet. I've never experienced that. You know when you're at home and you have like background noises? Or like the hum of your fridge or your HVAC system.
Yeah.
And once it goes out, you really like understand what quiet is. Like when the fridge has that lull moment when it stops running, you're like, what is this serenity? Walking through Myra Canyon, at one point I took my hat off because I was like, I hear nothing. I felt like the electricity.
I kind of got scared a little bit. After a bit, I was just like, this is way too quiet. I mean, you could hear the trees.
I was nervous on the way back. On the way out to it, I was excited because I was looking forward to seeing it.
So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. How did you like the train rail that they had there, like that bridge that they created?
I was really nervous to walk on that at first, so I went ahead of you.
Yeah.
And when I was walking towards it, I felt like I was on the edge of the world.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was on the cliff and it's snowy, so you don't really know like where the drop off is, and it was a steep drop off.
It's just like it shows up in the middle of nowhere and you don't really see it coming.
Yeah.
Because it's windy roads and full of snow, by the way, right now in the winter.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how safe it was to walk on them, but I saw a couple of footsteps, so I figured.
Yeah. No, but it was beautiful. The weather for February, I think now it's kind of changed a little bit, but I mean the weather seems like it's mild.
I'm wearing sneakers.
You love that, right?
I was so excited. I'm not into winter boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you feel about Kelowna? He spent a few days here and
I had different expectations for it. I thought it would be like
How was the food?
The food was amazing. It's the best food we've had on the trip. They're like super innovative. I love the farm to table concept and that it's like local produce and it's locally sourced. Like eating chocolate mashed potatoes, who would have thought? That was amazing.
Yeah, you loved it, eh?
I loved it.
You loved the food. That was your highlight for you?
Yeah, everything we ate was fantastic. Like nothing disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about in terms of for shopping and stuff like that?
Yeah, they have some cute boutiques. Nothing really stood out.
So you think there's like a lot of room, like as the population increases?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, especially for like different businesses and.
I saw a lot of new apartment buildings that are just they're just completed, and they're functioning now, and I think there's people living in them, but the bottom parts are like commercial real estate and they're all empty.
Yeah, I think the commercial opportunity is really big.
Ellis Street.
Yeah.
How did you like that Carrot restaurant where you had the croissant?
Could we go there again for breakfast?
It was
That was refinement, like the definition of refinement.
yeah. It looks like a jewelry shop, but like instead of jewelry, you see like bakery stuff in there.
Yeah. And everything looked so perfect. You know, when you see the Instagram stories of pastry, you probably don't get this on your Instagram, but I follow a lot of dessert Instagram accounts. And I get so mesmerized by watching people make those pastries, and that place.
It looks like that kind of a place, huh?
Yeah, like their pastries look like fruit, but they're made completely of edible contents.
I see.
It's like a feast for the eyes first.
That's a good concept.
I mean, you loved your croissant too.
What do you think is missing
In
for
Kelowna?
now?
Just a sense of community. I feel like in Nelson, people had a lot of, like the people who were living there out of choice, and they came there.
It is a very exclusive place.
Exclusive, but also I could feel that like people had shared values.
It wasn't very commercialized.
No. But the way like
So
their day-to-day activities was very much aligned across the general population there.
okay.
And then here is, I guess because it is filling in and it's in transition, you get like a hodgepodge of different types of demographics
Right.
and people at different times of their lives. So it doesn't have like a community vibe. Like I know it used to be a
It
very...
has different areas, and different areas have different vibes, like North Kelowna, South Kelowna, the West Side area. They all have their different vibes. I think they just will probably fill in a little bit more and have a little bit more variety. When we went to the west side of Kelowna,
I like that better.
there was a lot of vineyards, but also like that building that we saw that they were constructing.
That's gonna have a speakeasy.
Crown and Thief. I think that's a really interesting concept, and it is starting to come up. And I think it's because I think it's what they're doing and what the demand shift of the pandemic, and I think just millennials aging a little bit more or maturing, I would say. That I think the market is for us. Like I think that what our needs are and what we saw during our 20s, now the market will probably shift faster towards what our preferences are. I think that's the shift that we're going to see a lot more around the world, not just here.
You're right, because it's already happening in like businesses. Like the idea of going to work in a suit and tie is outdated.
Yeah.
And it's like contrary to productivity.
Yeah, and a career is kind of like out the door, basically.
Yeah, most people are contractors, or they move on really easily.
Yeah, it's a jumpy, innovative, fast lane kind of concept, but I think it will settle down a little bit more as millennials become more entrepreneurial. I think that will have a greater shift and a settling of what your life looks like in terms of work.
I think it's a matter of like confidence too. Like once millennials can feel more empowered through confidence in their choices, because for so long choices of millennials were
we
contrary.
graduated when the recession happened. So we came out of the market and the market had already changed. So I think that...
Isn't that interesting how you like inherit a world that was built by generations that are decreasingly less relevant, and you prescribe to that world? I was expecting this of Alberta, but we didn't see it there. We saw it in British Columbia. Tons of ranches and agricultural areas.
Yeah.
And like little towns that look like the wild, wild west from a movie.
Well, near the U.S. border, for sure, it has a very different vibe.
But I thought that we would see that kind of stuff in Alberta, because that's where like the cowboys of Canada live.
Yeah, the Calgary Stampede and stuff.
Yeah, but Alberta was like super lodgy.
Yeah.
And I would expect British Columbia to be lodgy and Alberta to be ranchy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Whoa.
He's a big boy.
He got close. He was curious.
Yeah, all right, let's get some coffee and breakfast. So my hazelnut chocolate croissant with, what is that? Hazelnut?
Yeah.
Actual hazelnut? And yours?
Strawberry cheesecake.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so you got salted caramel,
Yeah.
and I got rose.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What happened?
Just checking.
They're both interesting.
I got oat milk in yours and coconut in mine.
Well, what do you have in there? Is it vanilla?
Rose,
Rose.
like the flower.
I'm in a mess.
Typical.
Just your usual day at the breakfast office.
Yeah, there you go. There they are. One of them's still looking at us. He's like, what do these guys want?